I'm excited about Reverend Ike because I'm going to tell you this right now. As far as I'm concerned, he is still before his time. He is still before his time. God allowed him to get into some things and study and just build up and incubate truths and wisdom, and he's so full. So I just want you to stand on your feet with me. Honor the gift of God, the evangelist, Reverend Ike. Give God a round of applause. Reverend Ike.
All right. God bless you. Please be seated. I want to thank Bishop Lee and this cathedral congregation for inviting me to participate in this Success, Prosperity, and Money seminar. And I want to especially thank Bishop E. Bernard Jordan for bringing me here. I don't know the last time I did 3 days of anything anywhere. This must be God's will. Because when I heard it was 3 days, I even tried to back out. You know, but they had already printed it. So I said, Lord, I'll go. And I have a feeling of destiny about those of you that are here today. The Spirit said to me as I sat there, the right people are here. And you are going to be, this is your initiation as ambassadors of prosperity. And God is going to use you all over this nation, and I see in different parts of the world, to break the yoke of poverty from God's people. In the Gospel of Luke, when Jesus stated his mission, or made what we call today his mission statement, I want you to notice what he said. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me too. And then he made his points. The first point in his mission statement, he said, the Lord has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. The first thing that Jesus came to address was what? Poverty. I'm saying this because many times my fundamentalistic friends take issue with me about this business of prosperity. And to some extent, the church is catching up with me. I told the church 15, 20 years ago, when I didn't have any better sense than to get on television and radio and mass crusades and tell people that God wants you to prosper. God wants you to have money. And I said to my church in New York, because I could always tell them a bit more than I could tell the scribes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees, they are sad, you see. I said, in a few years, they're going to start sounding like me. And sometimes when I turn on that television and I listen to these preachers, they are saying my stuff word for word, not giving me credit, but you know, I get my credit from God. The Father that sees in secret rewards me openly. And I'm going to tell you, you're not getting the rewards from God that are intended for you unless you get persecuted for your prosperity. I'm going to tell you that right now, so you can, if you don't think you can take it, you can get up and run out. That's going to be, you are going to have persecution prosperity. But let's go back to Jesus' mission statement. And the first point, if you don't think that prosperity is spiritual, Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. You're not preaching the gospel unless you address poverty in every form. Now, I have some interesting interpretations of the word gospel. To me, the gospel is a spell. It's a God spell, a good spell, a healing spell, a health spell, a wealth spell, a prosperity spell, a success spell, a money spell. And I'm warning you, just like I warn people in other places, I have come here to cast a spell on you. I'm telling you right now, so you can get out of here if you can't take it. Jesus said, I am anointed by the Spirit of the Lord to preach the gospel to the poor. And what the gospel, the God spell, the good spell does is that first of all, it breaks the evil spell. It breaks the poverty spell and casts forth the prosperity spell. Say to the people around you, he's casting a spell of prosperity on you. Oh, yes. You see, because the preaching of the gospel, as we preach the gospel, we're casting spells. As a matter of fact, you know, every mind is under some kind of spell. The reason that you have what you have and do what you do is because you're under that spell. It is the nature of the mind to both cast spells and to receive spells. But you see, when you find your divine self-mastery, then you realize that you can choose your own spell. And I'll warn you, if you don't choose your own spell, the world will cast its spells upon you. Now, I had been under the poverty spell long enough. That's why it doesn't bother me anybody criticizing me for what the Father blesses me with. I've got the success spell. I've got the prosperity spell. Yes, I've got the money spell. And I came to give it to you. Maybe that's what I'll name this series now. At Bishop Jordan's, I came up with the gift of money. This is the God spell, the good spell, the prosperity spell, the success spell, the money spell. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach the gospel. First of all, to the poor. Well, if you're going to preach the gospel to the poor, it has to do with prosperity. What is the gospel to the poor? You don't have to be poor anymore. Let's preach it for 20 seconds. Stand up and preach that to as many people as you can, as loud as you can for 20 seconds. You don't have to be poor anymore. 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 No, you don't have to be poor anymore. Oh, you don't have to be poor anymore. You don't have to be poor anymore. Oh, yes. You don't have to be poor anymore. No. Oh, you don't have to be poor anymore. You don't have to be poor anymore. All right, be seated if you can be. So you see, really, the church has missed the gospel. That's why they don't recognize it when I came preaching it. They missed Jesus' mission statement. And you know, I do know something about the Bible. This is my 48th year preaching. In 1999 will be my 50th year. And for that, they are raising an extra $50 million extra. Extra. And this is my 48th year. When I was 15, I was pastoring. And I know something about poverty and breaking that spell. You see, I was born right across the river in South Carolina and raised there until I was 17. And I remember my mother, who was a Georgia woman, Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. I remember when she taught school for $65 a month. She and I walked to school 4 miles each way, each day. They rode the bus and left the walking to us. Now they want to walk to school. Neighborhood schools, sure. Anyway, don't want to get into that too deeply right now. And my mother taught 7 grades in one room. I suppose my educational deliverance is in part in the fact that both my mother, my grandmother, and her brother and all of her sisters here in Georgia were school teachers, educators at one time or the other. And I don't remember first grade because I went to college with my grandmother and my mother before I was 6 years of age. But I remember when finally got to high school. By the way, never attended a high school with running water except the water that ran in from the ceiling. You know why I'm taking time to tell you this? Because some people say, oh, that Reverend Ike can talk because he's got it. Yes, thank God I got it, and I want to help you get it.